At one award ceremony I attended in Iraq, 20 Marines received the Purple Heart for wounds they'd sustained in combat. Their injuries were incurred in some of the toughest gunfights I've ever seen. By the midpoint of their 7-month deployment, 116 Marines in the battalion had been wounded in action. Yet, 70 of them chose to stay in the fight, even though, as a consequence of their multiple wounds, they could have gone home. I asked Lieutenant David Dobb, who sustained injuries to his hand, why so many of these young men decided to stick it out, even though they'd been hurt. This is what the Marines signed up to do, he told me, and we're going to see this mission through until the job is done the way it's supposed to be done. Sergeant Kenneth Conde, a squad leader with 2nd Battalion, 4th Marines, was leading a nighttime raid when insurgents tried to ambush his unit, and in the ensuing fight, Sergeant Conde was hit in the shoulder by enemy fire. Though badly wounded, Sergeant Conde stayed in the fight and refused to be evacuated until after the engagement. After being patched up in the aid station, he was back with his squad, even though he could have had a ticket home. I asked him why he decided to stay. His answer? There's no other choice for a sergeant. You have to lead your Marines. That's been the overwhelming attitude of the young American soldiers, sailors, airmen, guardsmen, and Marines I've been covering since 2001 all over the globe. They're in harm's way, far from home and loved ones, often in the most arduous conditions imaginable, while their countrymen are tucked safely in bed. They're on duty 24/7 for months on end, and though most are too young to buy a legal adult beverage, they've already had more responsibility entrusted to them than their civilian peers will be granted in their lifetimes. They do all this with grace, humility, and courage that would make anyone proud to be called an American. These are the heroes standing between us and the jihadis. That's what heroes do.